Imagine for a moment that you wake up tomorrow and every circumstance in your life, your job, your health, your relationships, remains exactly the same. Yet somehow, everything feels different. The world seems brighter, problems appear smaller, and opportunities seem to emerge where you once saw obstacles. What changed? Not the world, but you, your inner world. For it is an immutable law of life that when you control the inner world, the outer world will surely follow. Every man and woman carries within them two worlds: the world that is seen and the world that is unseen. The outer world of events, circumstances, and people, this is the reflection, not the source. The true source lies within, in that quiet workshop of thought, belief, and imagination. There, in the silence of your own mind, you are shaping the world that others will one day call reality. The mistake most people make is to battle endlessly with the outer world, never realizing that the true battlefield lies within themselves. If you wish to change your life, you must first change your thoughts. That was and remains the great secret of success. Everything you hold in your hand began first as a thought in someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the building you occupy, the device you hold, each of them began as an unseen idea. So too does every fortune, every invention, every happy life. The mind is not a passive observer. It is the creative engine of all experience. Guard it as you would the entrance to your home, for the thoughts you permit to dwell there will shape the quality of your existence. To control the inner world means to take responsibility for your reactions, your focus, and your imagination. The circumstances around you are neutral until your mind gives them meaning. Two people may face the same storm. One curses it, the other sails upon it. The difference is not in the wind, but in the set of the sail. You have been given the divine gift of choice to think, to direct, and to believe. Use that gift, and your outer world will begin to reorder itself in harmony with your inner convictions. Discipline your mind to see the good, to expect success, and to move with calm purpose. Every morning before you step into the world, take a moment to command your inner realm. Ask yourself, what thoughts will I permit today? What emotions will I nurture? What kind of world will I create from within? For the truth is this: you are not a victim of circumstance, but an architect of destiny. The outer world is clay, and your mind is the sculptor's hand. And so, if you wish to improve your life, do not begin with the outer. Begin with the inner. Direct your thoughts toward what you wish to create. Think only on what is good and desirable. Speak with faith, act with conviction, and carry within you the quiet certainty that all is unfolding as it should. Then watch as the outer world, obedient and faithful, reshapes itself to match the vision you hold within. That is the power, the mystery, and the beauty of a mind under control. That is the secret Earl Nightingale spoke of, and it remains as true today as it ever was. There's a quiet power in every human being that most never learn to control. It isn't something you can touch, nor can you see it, yet it governs everything you do and everything you become. It is the world within, the landscape of thought, imagination, and emotion. Most people rise each day and look outward, as though the answers to life's questions lie somewhere beyond the horizon. They search for success in circumstances, in luck, in the opinions of others. They fight with the outer world, trying to bend it to their will. But the truth is this: nothing changes out there until something changes in here. The mind is the master power that molds, shapes, and directs the very fabric of your experience. When you gain control over the inner world, the outer world will follow like a shadow that cannot help but imitate its source. Consider for a moment how the greatest achievements in history have always begun. A bridge, a painting, a discovery, a company, all were born in the invisible chamber of the human mind. Before a single brick was laid, before the first brushstroke touched the canvas, before a machine ever turned, there was an idea, a vision, a belief that said, "This can be done." That single spark within became the light that guided the outer world into motion. The difference between those who shape their world and those who are shaped by it lies in understanding. This principle, the outer world, is the mirror of the inner. When the reflection displeases you, there is no use polishing the mirror. You must cleanse the face it reflects. The inner world is your private dominion. Within it lives your thoughts, your beliefs, your hopes, and your fears. It is here that every victory is first imagined and every defeat first conceded. If the mind is filled with doubt, the outer world will present endless reasons to doubt. If it is filled with courage and expectation, The world will seem to open doors where before there were only walls. The wise person learns that life responds not to demands shouted at the sky, but to the quiet, consistent direction of thought. You do not attract what you wish for, you attract what you truly are inside. Think of the mind as fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant, whether of success or failure, joy or despair, will grow with astonishing accuracy. The soil does not question your choice, it simply yields what you plant. If you sow seeds of worry, the harvest will be anxiety and limitation. But if you sow seeds of purpose, gratitude, and confidence, the harvest will be opportunity, growth, and peace. The outer circumstances of your life are nothing more than the visible growth of those inner seeds. Most people, when they find themselves unhappy or unsuccessful, rush to change the outer, new jobs, new cities, new relationships, yet they carry with them the same old seeds. And so, the same results appear again and again, until they finally learn that transformation begins from within. To control the inner world is not to suppress emotion or deny reality. It is to understand that you are the observer and commander of your thoughts, not their prisoner. You can decide what to dwell upon and what to release. You can direct your imagination toward what you wish to create rather than what you fear might happen. Every moment of your life, you are broadcasting thoughts like invisible signals, and the world responds in harmony with their tone. A mind filled with resentment attracts conflict. A mind filled with peace attracts harmony. You are the artist, and the canvas of your world waits for the strokes of your mental brush. There is a magnificent order to life that few ever grasp. The world outside you is a reflection of the world inside you, and both are governed by the same laws. Thought precedes action, belief precedes behavior, and imagination precedes achievement. Every empire, every invention, every poem, every song, each began first as a whisper within someone's consciousness. And the same power that shaped mountains and moved civilizations lies dormant within you, waiting for direction. When you learn to master thought, you master creation itself. Imagine living each day knowing that your inner dialogue writes the script of your outer experience. How carefully would you choose your thoughts if you knew each one were a brushstroke on the canvas of your life? How intentionally would you guard your mind if you knew every image it holds will one day step out into form? The truth is, that's exactly how it works. Every thought, emotion, and belief sends out a vibration that shapes the unseen currents of your future. Control that vibration, and you control destiny. So the task before you is clear. Begin each day not by worrying about what the world will bring, but by asking what you will bring to the world. Will you bring faith or fear, gratitude or complaint, purpose or confusion? You cannot control every circumstance, but you can control the atmosphere of your mind. And that atmosphere will influence everything that happens to you. Just as a calm sea reflects the sky, a calm mind reflects wisdom, clarity, and strength. The more ordered and peaceful your inner world becomes, the more ordered and peaceful the outer world will appear. This is not imagination or fantasy, it is a fundamental law of life. The outer world is the effect, the inner world is the cause. Every improvement, every success, every meaningful change begins with an adjustment of thought. When you take command of that inner realm, when you decide what to think, how to respond, and what to believe, you awaken a creative force more powerful than any circumstance. And from that moment forward, the world outside no longer dictates your life, it follows your lead. There is a world within you that most people scarcely explore, a vast universe of imagination, discipline, and vision. It is here, in this inner domain, that your true power resides. Everything that has ever been created, achieved, or transformed began first as a quiet thought within the mind of someone who dared to believe. The skyscraper that stretches toward the clouds was once a faint image in the architect's imagination. The symphony that stirs the soul began as a whisper of melody in the composer's heart. The lives that inspire us most were shaped not by accident, but by deliberate thought directed toward purpose. The outer world may appear solid and unchanging, but in truth, it bends and rearranges itself to mirror the convictions and patterns of the inner world. Most people live as though they are passengers in their own existence. They drift, moved by the winds of circumstance, never realizing that the rudder of life lies within their own hands. They react rather than create. They wait for things to happen instead of causing them to happen. And so they move in circles, hoping for new outcomes while thinking the same thoughts, speaking the same words, and feeling the same fears. But the moment a person awakens to the truth that thought is the origin of all experience, everything changes. They discover that life is not something happening to them, it is something being projected from them. When the mind is properly directed, it becomes the greatest force in creation. The images and ideas you hold within form the blueprint for your outer circumstances. Every time you focus your mind on a goal, a dream, or a desired state, you are issuing an instruction to life itself. The subconscious mind, faithful and unquestioning, begins to work toward its fulfillment. It seeks patterns, opportunities, and resources aligned with that dominant idea. This is why the person who believes they can eventually does, and the one who believes they can't never will. Life simply reflects the clarity or confusion of one's own thoughts. To understand this is to understand the true nature of cause and effect. The world does not reward effort alone, it rewards the direction of effort. A man may labor tirelessly, but if his thoughts are scattered, his results will be scattered too. Yet another may act with quiet certainty. His mind centered on a definite purpose, and everything he touches begins to move in harmony with that inner vision. The difference is not luck, nor is it fortune. It is mental alignment. When the inner world is governed by clarity, discipline, and faith, the outer world becomes a faithful servant to those qualities. Consider the great leaders and innovators throughout history. What they possessed was not merely intelligence or opportunity, it was vision. A mental picture of what could be, so vivid and persistent that the outer world eventually conformed to it. They lived from the inside out. Their minds were laboratories where ideas were shaped, refined, and believed in long before anyone else could see them. And while others doubted, they persisted. While others feared, they acted. The difference lay not in resources, but in consciousness. Every one of us possesses this same creative power, though few ever use it consciously. You can begin right where you are, with whatever you have. The key is to decide what you truly want and hold that image steadily in your mind. Refuse to be swayed by appearances. The outer world will test your resolve. It will challenge your patience. But remember, it is only the reflection. Change the image in your mind, and the reflection must change as well. It cannot do otherwise. The mind is both sculptor and scriptwriter. Each thought chisels form out of the formless. Each belief writes a line in the story of your life. The great secret is that you are always creating, even when you are unaware of it. Every worry, every doubt, every fear is an instruction to the unseen forces that shape your world. When you dwell on limitation, life finds ways to confirm it. When you focus on abundance, new paths open before you. The law works with exact precision. It does not favor or punish, it merely reflects. To harness this law, you must learn the art of inner discipline. Train your mind as a craftsman trains his hands. Choose your thoughts deliberately, as you would choose the materials to build a home. Refuse entry to ideas that weaken or distract you. Fill your mind with the images of the life you desire, not the one you fear. Speak words of faith, not frustration. Act each day as though the world were already in harmony with your vision, and soon it will be. There is a quiet magic in this understanding. It removes fear and replaces it with certainty. You begin to see that you are not powerless, not a leaf tossed by the wind of chance, but a creator in the truest sense. Your outer world is not a mystery, it is a message. It tells you in every detail what you have been thinking, feeling, and believing. And the moment you accept that truth, you reclaim your power to direct it. The mind, properly used, is a compass pointing toward growth, peace, and fulfillment. Misused, it becomes a prison of doubt and confusion. The choice is always yours. When you begin to master the invisible world of thought, you master the visible world of circumstance. The outer world is nothing more than thought in slow motion, an echo of the inner voice that speaks without sound yet commands all creation. There comes a moment in every person's life when they begin to sense that their outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts they consistently hold inside. It is a quiet realization, almost unsettling at first, that the mind is not simply a receiver of experience but the projector of it. Look closely at any circumstance around you, your work, your relationships, your finances, and you will find the evidence of your own habitual thinking patterns woven into each of them. The conditions of life are mirrors, reflecting the quality of our inner beliefs and expectations. To understand this truth is to gain the master key to change. For once you learn that your thoughts are the architects of your destiny, you no longer live as a victim of circumstance, but as the deliberate designer of your life. Every person walks through life surrounded by the atmosphere of their own mental state. You can feel it in others before they speak a word. Some carry with them a sense of hope and calm, and the world responds to them with opportunity and warmth. Others radiate frustration, fear, or self-doubt, and life seems to return those emotions in kind. This is not coincidence, it is law. The energy of your inner world magnetizes similar conditions in the outer world. You cannot think defeat and live in victory, just as you cannot think abundance while clinging to lack. The mind and the world are two sides of the same coin, one invisible, the other visible, and whichever image you engrave upon the invisible side, the visible will reveal in time. Thoughts are the builders of reality. What you dwell upon becomes your direction, and what you expect becomes your experience. The gardener who sows seeds of flowers does not expect thorns, yet many sow seeds of fear, and then wonder why their lives bloom with anxiety. The soil of the mind is perfectly impartial. It yields whatever is planted with faith and emotion. When you fill your mind with pictures of success, happiness, and purpose, those images begin to take form in the world around you. But if you allow worry, resentment, or doubt to take root, those too will grow, for the mind cannot tell the difference between what is wished for and what is feared. It only obeys the command of focus. The great misunderstanding of most people is that life happens to them. They move through their days reacting to events, never realizing that those events are often the outpicturing of their own internal climate. The angry person encounters endless provocations. The fearful person meets continual threats, while the calm and confident individual seems to find life cooperating with their plans. The difference is not in circumstance but in consciousness. Each person experiences not life as it is, but life as they are. Change the state of your mind, and you change the pattern of your days. Every great transformation begins in thought. The man who decides he will improve his health begins first with a single conviction. I can. The woman who builds a business first holds in her mind an image of it succeeding. The young student who dreams of making a difference begins by seeing themselves capable of doing so. Before the world ever applauds them, they have already lived the victory in imagination. This is not fantasy. It is creative thought directed with purpose and belief. The subconscious mind does not argue. It accepts the pattern you impress upon it and works tirelessly to bring it into manifestation through action, intuition, and circumstance. It is for this reason that the most powerful tool any human being possesses is attention. What you give attention to, you strengthen. What you neglect, you weaken. If your attention is fixed on fear, you feed it. If your attention is fixed on faith, you empower it. The outer world mirrors the quality of your attention, like a polished surface mirrors your face. When you choose your thoughts deliberately, you choose your future deliberately. Nothing in your outer life can remain unchanged when the inner vision is renewed. The practice of mastering thought requires patience, for the mind has long been accustomed to wander. It drifts toward the familiar, often toward worry, doubt, or self-criticism. But with awareness and repetition, the tides of thought can be redirected. Each morning offers a new opportunity to set the tone of your inner world. Begin the day with a thought of gratitude, and the day unfolds in harmony. Begin with a thought of complaint, and the hours ahead will find reasons to justify it. Life responds to your mental starting point. You may test this truth easily. Decide to hold for a single day thoughts only of courage, kindness, and expectancy. Refuse to indulge in fear or irritation. Observe how differently the world behaves toward you. You will find conversations friendlier, circumstances smoother, and your own energy lighter. This is not chance. It is the reflection of your altered vibration. The world outside is compelled to echo the dominant tone of your mind, as surely as sound echoes from the walls of a canyon. Those who master their thoughts master their fate. The difference between stagnation and growth, between mediocrity and greatness, lies in what occupies the inner world hour by hour. If you wish to elevate your outer world, your health, your work, your relationships, begin by elevating your thoughts. See yourself as capable, deserving, and guided. Act with quiet conviction that life is on your side. The moment you do, unseen forces begin to move. Situations align. Opportunities appear, and people respond in kind. The law is simple, unwavering, and impartial. You become what you think about. The outer world is merely the canvas, and thought is the brush. Paint carefully, paint beautifully, and remember always, the picture you hold within is the one the world will eventually hang upon the walls of your reality. The measure of a person's power is found not in their possessions, not in their influence, but in their ability to command the inner world. The mind, left unattended, drifts toward disorder, just as an untended garden becomes overrun with weeds. Every day, you are given the choice to rule your thoughts or be ruled by them, and that choice determines everything that follows. To control the inner world is to stand at the helm of your life, calm and steady even as the waves of circumstance rise around you. For while you cannot command the winds, you can always adjust the sails. Life's circumstances are neutral until you interpret them. Two people can face the same event. One sees defeat, the other sees an opportunity to grow. The difference is not in what happened, but in what they decided it meant. Meaning is created in the mind, and from that meaning springs emotion, and from emotion springs action. Control the thought, and you control the chain. It is a simple truth, yet one so rarely practiced that most live as slaves to their moods, believing they are victims of chance. The moment you realize that every feeling and every action begins with a thought, you hold the key to freedom in your hands. To master the inner world is to master reaction. The world outside you will always test your patience, your courage, your faith. Challenges will come, people will disappoint you, and plans will change without warning. But it is not these events that shape you. It is your response to them. Between what happens and what you do, there is a moment of choice. In that small space lies your power, your dignity, your peace. The person who fills that space with conscious thought, rather than impulse, becomes unshakable. Their calm is not born of luck, but of discipline. There is no greater skill than the ability to remain composed in the face of chaos. When the mind is quiet and focused, solutions appear that cannot be seen through panic. The person who can think clearly under pressure holds an advantage over the one who reacts in fear. Success, happiness, and peace are all byproducts of inner control. When you have learned to guide your thoughts with intention, the outer world loses its power to disturb you. You become, in every sense of the word, free. To reach that state, one must train the mind daily. The same way a musician practices scales or an athlete trains the body, you must train your thoughts. You cannot expect a mind that has been fed on worry, gossip, and doubt to produce peace and success. Each day, feed it with the food of confidence, gratitude, and faith. Read what uplifts you. Speak what strengthens you. Surround yourself with ideas that remind you of your power, not your limitations. What enters the mind through repetition becomes belief, and belief becomes behavior. Understand that the world is not against you. It simply responds to you. When you fill your inner world with fear, life mirrors that fear. When you fill it with courage, life reflects courage back. The energy you project is the energy you attract. There is no mystery in this. It is a law as certain as gravity. Every thought has a vibration, and that vibration draws to it similar conditions. A calm and confident mind draws opportunity. A restless and doubtful mind draws confusion. The one who controls their inner dialogue commands the currents of destiny. Think of a stormy sea. The waves rise and fall, fierce and unpredictable. The untrained mind is like that sea, tossed about by every passing emotion, by every small disturbance in the outer world. But beneath the surface, the ocean is calm and unmoving. That depth is where your true self resides. When you learn to descend into that calmness, to think, to breathe, to act from awareness, you become unshaken by the storms above. You may feel the movement of the waves, but you are no longer carried away by them. Every moment offers you an opportunity to practice mastery. When irritation arises, instead of reacting, observe it. When fear whispers, confront it with reason. When doubt appears, answer it with faith. These small victories in the inner world accumulate until they form character, the invisible armor of the strong. The person who has conquered themselves cannot be conquered by circumstance. The outer world, no matter how turbulent, bends in obedience to the calm authority of such a mind. True power lies in restraint. It is not the loudest voice nor the quickest reaction that carries influence. It is the measured, thoughtful, and composed presence of one who governs their inner world. Others are drawn to that steadiness because it radiates safety and certainty in a world that often feels uncertain. When you are calm, people listen. When you are confident, doors open. When you are centered, your mere presence can uplift the environment around you. So train yourself to live from the inside out. Let no situation dictate your mood, no opinion define your worth, no failure diminish your purpose. Choose your thoughts deliberately, as an artist chooses colors for a masterpiece. Paint each day with intention, not reaction. For the mind, once mastered, becomes a faithful servant, guiding you through the noise of life with quiet strength. And as you cultivate peace within, you will watch the world around you, once chaotic and unkind, begin to mirror that same peace back to you, proving beyond question that when you command the inner world, the outer will always follow. Each morning greets you with a silent question: who will you be today? The answer is written not in your circumstances, but in the thoughts you choose the moment you open your eyes. Before you take a single step into the outer world, you have already begun to shape it by the tone of your inner world. Every emotion you permit, every idea you entertain, every belief you reinforce becomes the architect of what follows. The world outside is a mirror, and it reflects whatever image the mind projects. To command your day, you must first command your consciousness. There is immense power in the first moments of awareness. Many people rise from sleep already entangled in the web of yesterday's worries, repeating old patterns of thought before the day has even begun. They step into the world with a mind cluttered by fear and frustration, and life dutifully echoes those emotions back to them. But the person who greets the day with intention, with clarity and quiet confidence, sets into motion a different chain of events entirely. The day bends itself around their mental posture. It responds to their expectation. For what you expect, you invite, and what you invite, you eventually experience. Each morning offers you the sacred opportunity to align yourself with purpose. Ask yourself, what will I permit to occupy my mind today? Will I let irritation take the driver's seat, or will I choose gratitude? Will I allow fear to dictate my pace, or will I move forward with faith? These are not small questions. They determine the quality of your hours. Every man and woman who has ever achieved peace, success, or happiness began by mastering this inner conversation. They did not wait for the world to bring them calm. They brought calm to the world. Thoughts are like guests you invite into your home. Some bring light, laughter, and warmth. Others bring complaint, confusion, and doubt. The wise person learns to be selective about which guests they welcome. When a negative thought knocks at the door, do not argue with it. Simply refuse to entertain it. Replace it with a thought of strength, of gratitude, of opportunity. The mind, once trained to reject what weakens it and embrace what empowers it, becomes a powerful ally. Your outer achievements will never rise higher than the standard of thoughts you consistently hold. There is a rhythm to the mind that must be understood. It cannot remain empty for long. If you do not fill it deliberately, it will fill itself with whatever it encounters: news, gossip, doubt, or distraction. That is why the early moments of the day are so vital. Guard them as you would a treasure. Feed your mind something worthy of your future. Read a few lines that inspire you. Sit in stillness for a moment of reflection. Write down what you wish to accomplish and, more importantly, how you wish to feel while doing it. By the time the world begins to speak to you, you will already have chosen your language of response. Discipline is not a burden, it is freedom. When you discipline your mind, you free yourself from the tyranny of circumstance. You no longer rise and fall with the moods of others or the whims of fate. You become the steady force around which change occurs. People will sense it in you, a quiet assurance and inner stability. They may call it confidence or charisma, but it is something deeper. It is the calm born from self-command. And this calm, once cultivated, becomes your greatest advantage in every pursuit. The habit of mental mastery grows through repetition. Begin with small things. When you find yourself irritated in traffic, use it as an opportunity to practice patience. When worry arises, transform it into planning. When doubt appears, turn it into action. Each moment of choice strengthens the muscle of self-control. Over time, your reactions become intentional rather than impulsive. What once disturbed your peace will pass through your awareness like a wave passing over deep water. Noticed, but not unsettling. A mind that is ordered produces a life that is ordered. The person who begins each day with clarity and gratitude finds that events seem to organize themselves around that vibration. Solutions appear where there were once obstacles. People respond with cooperation instead of resistance. The world becomes an ally, not an adversary. It is not that life suddenly becomes easier. It is that your inner stability allows you to move through it with grace. You no longer waste energy fighting what you cannot control. You invest it in creating what you can. If you wish to live a life of peace and power, make it your daily ritual to shape your inner world before you face the outer. Decide what kind of person you intend to be, and let that decision govern your words and actions. If you wish for success, think successfully. If you wish for kindness, think kindly. If you wish for progress, think constructively. The thoughts you repeat become the reality you inhabit. Every morning is a blank page, and your thoughts are the ink. Write carefully. Write consciously. The quality of your inner world determines the story the outer world will tell about you. Life does not respond to what you wish. It responds to what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. Begin each day as the author of your own mind, and the world will soon begin to read from the book you have written within. The greatest mistake a person can make is to believe that the outer world must change before they can feel peace within. They wait for better conditions, for friendlier people, for more opportunity, as though happiness were a prize awarded only after the battle of circumstance is won. But the truth is the opposite. The world will never adjust to meet the demands of a restless mind. It is the mind that must first find order, and then the outer world will follow. What happens around you is a reflection of what happens within you. If you hold chaos in your thoughts, you will meet it in your days. But if you cultivate harmony, the world itself will seem to bend toward it. Every human life is a conversation between the inner and outer worlds. The world outside whispers, and the inner world responds. Yet most people live unaware that the dialogue can be reversed. You can speak first. You can decide what you will believe, what you will expect, and how you will respond. And when you do, the outer world begins to echo that inner declaration. If you think thoughts of strength, you will meet circumstances that require strength, and find that you have it. If you think thoughts of peace, you will draw into your experience conditions that promote calm. Life moves in rhythm with the music of your mind. To shape that rhythm, one must understand the law of reflection. Everything that returns to you, opportunity, rejection, friendship, conflict, has its origin in your own consciousness. You are never punished for your thoughts. You are punished by them. You are never rewarded for your beliefs. You are rewarded through them. The universe is not against you. It is merely obedient to you. It does not choose sides, it mirrors focus. When you think of limitation, you expand it. When you think of possibility, you enlarge it. This law is impartial, but it is also generous. It will give you precisely what you continually hold in your mind. When you understand this, you stop trying to force the outer world into compliance. You no longer waste effort fighting circumstances, people, or conditions. Instead, you turn inward, where all real change begins. You correct the image, not the reflection. The person who understands this secret becomes unhurried, unbothered, almost serene. They know that to struggle against appearances is to strengthen them, and to calmly change the thought is to transform them. They carry within them a quiet assurance that life is not happening to them. It is responding through them. Imagine for a moment that the mind is a lens through which you view reality. If the lens is clouded by resentment, you will see only reasons to be bitter. If it is smudged with fear, the world will appear threatening and uncertain. But clean that lens, fill it with gratitude, forgiveness, and purpose, and you will begin to see opportunities where before you saw obstacles. The world has not changed, your perception has. And perception, refined by discipline, becomes creation. For the way you see determines the way you act, and the way you act determines the results that return to you. You will discover that outer peace is impossible without inner peace. The person who is impatient within will always find delays. The one who is insecure will always find rejection. Yet the one who cultivates calm and certainty within will find doors opening with effortless precision. The world becomes gentle to the gentle, generous to the grateful, and kind to the kind. This is not luck. It is law. The vibration you send forth sets the tone for what you receive. Every thought you think is a signal, every emotion a message to the universe saying, more of this, please. The universe listens with perfect accuracy. This truth carries both a warning and a promise. The warning is that you cannot think negatively and expect a positive result. You cannot sow weeds and expect roses. But the promise is even greater. If you fill your mind with order, purpose, and gratitude, your outer life will rise to meet that standard. The process may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. Like a seed planted in good soil, your thoughts require time to mature, and when they do, the harvest will astonish you. To live this way is to move from reaction to creation. No longer are you the puppet of external forces. You become the author of experience, the quiet conductor of unseen energy. Each day you write the script of your life with your thoughts, and the world merely acts it out. If the scene displeases you, you need not curse the actors, simply rewrite the script. Adjust your thinking, lift your vision, and reality will rearrange itself accordingly. What begins as a whisper within the heart becomes, over time, the loudest voice in your world. The person who thinks peace becomes a bringer of peace. The one who thinks abundance becomes a magnet for opportunity. The one who thinks love becomes surrounded by love. This is not poetic idealism. It is the natural law of cause and effect applied to consciousness. The outer world must obey the command of the inner, because the inner world is its source. So when you look around and wish for better conditions, remember that the workshop of change lies not out there, but within the chambers of your own thought. The outer world follows the inner with unwavering loyalty. Master your thoughts, and the world must follow. This is not the promise of a dreamer. It is the power of truth. For every change that lasts, every success that endures, every peace that remains begins first in silence, as a single decision of the mind to think rightly, to believe deeply, and to live from the inside out. And so, the truth stands before us in its quiet simplicity. The outer world is but a mirror, faithfully reflecting the images we hold within. Every joy, every struggle, every triumph begins as a thought, shaped and nurtured in the unseen workshop of the mind. The difference between those who drift and those who direct their lives lies not in fortune or chance, but in the mastery of that inner realm. For the person who governs their thoughts governs their destiny. Each day, the world responds to the tone of your inner conversation. Think in harmony with courage, and life will present challenges that reveal your strength. Think with gratitude, and you will find abundance flowing toward you. Think with faith, and the impossible will begin to bend in your favor. Life does not withhold its treasures, it simply mirrors the state of your consciousness. What you are within, you will soon meet without. You need not fight the outer world, nor chase it, nor beg it to change. You need only return to the quiet center within and choose your thoughts with wisdom. Hold the image of the life you desire. Speak with conviction, act with integrity, and move with calm certainty that what begins in the mind must manifest in form. The law cannot fail. The seed will always produce after its kind. When you master yourself, you master life. When you bring peace to the inner world, peace will unfold in the outer. And when you decide, truly decide, to think only on what is good, noble, and possible, the world around you will begin to rise to meet that vision. The mind is the starting point of all creation, and within your own lies the power to shape a destiny as vast and beautiful as you dare to imagine. So guard your thoughts as treasures, for they are the architects of tomorrow. Build within a world of faith, gratitude, and purpose, and you will find the outer world arranging itself in perfect harmony. Control the inner world, and the outer will follow, always unfailingly, and in ways that remind you that life itself is not your master, but your magnificent reflection.